Okay, well, for my year, I think the 10 markers got removed from the exam, but I don't know the case now. But I'm just gonna go through it anyway because it is kind of good to just know about because it can like relate to the 16 marker because to me the 10 marker is like a less advanced version of the 16 marker kind of. It's like a mix of 12 and 16. Kind of. But it's also short. It's 10 marks, so you want to be concise, very concise. Okay, so I'm gonna give an overview first. So the 10 marker is like you're doing all the same things. So you're doing your definitions, you're doing an outline of the essay, you're doing paragraphs on different points linking to the statement, and then you're doing a conclusion that has evaluation in it. So you want to come to an evaluation because it's discussing. Okay, so now I'm going to go through this question that I did that got 9 out of 10. I don't know if I have a 10 out of 10 example, because all the examples I'm giving from the videos are digital because I do have physical written ones, but right now I can't actually scan those on to this, but I don't really remember getting a 10 out of 10. I think the highest I have is a 9. Okay, so I'm going to go through what my method is. Again, it's not like the perfect method, it's just what I would do and my advice. So in the first paragraph, you want to define, as always, you want to define. So I'm defining the key terms in the question, and then I'm saying what it is, and then I'm saying, okay, then it's saying like it's discussing effective, it says community-based approaches to water management are an effective way to achieve water sustainability in areas at different levels of economic development. Discuss with reference to examples you have studied. So, basically talking about, so that, whoa. Okay, so then I'm saying to alleviate the issue, sustainable water management will be needed, which is defined as this. So again, defining. Then I'm saying in this essay, I'll be giving my opinion of how community-based approaches to water management are effective in achieving water sustainability in different levels of economic development worldwide, while still evaluating both sides of the argument. So I'm saying I'm going to evaluate, I'm giving my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you make sure that you're using that, like, just say that in the beginning and it'll, like, kind of make it easier, and it gives you already that tone of evaluating. Okay, so then I'm saying, I'm doing, like, a pros and cons type of thing. So I'm saying, to first argue the reasons why I believe they're effective, they can help LICs achieve improvements in the SDGs while improving water sustainability simultaneously. So I'm giving examples, and I'm saying, how does this help with the SDG? So I say it does SDG 5, and it's also helping women seek employment. So it's like multiple things are being targeted. So that's, and then I'm doing a kind of contrasting point. So I said, however, a disadvantage is that there may be cultural difficulties in having female plumbers and women doing these tasks when the society is mainly male dominated. I still believe the benefits of the scheme outweigh the possible problems, and it's vital for us to first face these inevitable social problems that will arise in order for countries to take larger steps to end all means of discrimination. It's absolutely essential that women are empowered, and then I say thus, given the ability of these schemes to address achieving sustainable development in LICs, I think these contemporary approaches are viable ways for us to achieve sustainable water use in the future and mitigate the issue of water scarcity. So this is a nice evaluation sentence. So what we saw here is that I started off saying, arguing for this statement. So I'm saying they are effective, and I'm saying why they're effective, but then I'm saying, however, there might be some drawbacks like this or this, but then I'm saying, nevertheless, I think it's still an effective way because you have to target these issues. So I'm giving like a conclusion to the different evaluative points, and that's linking back to the question. So I'm agreeing with the statement essentially. Okay, then I'm going on to another paragraph, and I'm saying another reason why I believe these schemes are effective is because they promote resource stewardship, which is when people embody responsible planning of resources through things such as conservation. This leads to a circular economy, which would yield benefits, and then I'm giving examples of this. So where has it been used? Okay, the only thing about this essay, this essay I wrote, I think, in late year 12, mid year 12 probably. And the only thing I don't like is how I'm saying my and I. Like, I really just, I don't know, I wouldn't really do that now. But that's just a personal thing. I don't think it really matters because I'm still managing to get to the point and, express evaluation and stuff, but I'm just saying I wouldn't really do that now. But that's kind of just a personal thing. Yeah, so I'm saying that it could be good, but then I said, however, a problem that may occur is that in long periods, drought, rain, harvesting is not possible. So I'm saying this actually is good, but when the weather isn't favorable, it is not good. But then I say, in my opinion, however, even if there are periods of droughts, the installation of the systems and series of pipes early on during rainy seasons will allow for later use, because these resources can be pre-collected in rainwater barrels. Then I'm giving a conclusion. Hence, overall, due to the idea that cities can become more sustainable through resource stewardship, this supports my opinion that these approaches are remarkably effective for preventing water scarcity. So again, I'm saying this is really good. I support this statement, but this might happen, but it's okay because it's still sustainable. And then I'm concluding saying it is still sustainable despite the possible challenges. And in another case, I might have argued against it, but that's just what my examples were supporting. So yeah. And then I'm saying, and then I'm giving this alternative perspective. So alternatively, an opposing argument from others may say that these solutions may not be feasible because a large-scale government-led top-down approach may be needed, since small-scale approaches may limit the problem. However, they don't directly tackle the issue of water supply that a large project may provide a solution for. So I'm saying, well, actually, community-based approaches are good because they do target the issue, but large-scale top-down might be more effective because essentially it is larger, and in some cases you just need that. Oh my god. Okay, and then I'm giving an example of the Three Gorges Dam because that's a large-scale project. And I'm saying this does water transfer schemes, they do, water supply, they provide water supply, but then I say, nonetheless, I still stand by my argument that small-scale local approaches can counter these problems more effectively and appropriately because large-scale projects are expensive to build and maintain, and that's not really good for LICs, or places with long dry seasons and not enough government funds. In addition, some countries might not have applicable raw materials, telecommunications for these large-scale projects. So I'm giving another perspective, and I'm saying maybe, but nevertheless I'm saying I don't really think that it's as effective as a small-scale community project. Okay, then I'm saying, to conclude, I believe to a great extent that local community-based projects alone have the ability to achieve water sustainability to tackle the issue of water scarcity. This is due to my previous supporting arguments that this, and this. So I'm saying what came from my previous arguments, and I said, I believe that large-scale approaches may have a relatively decreased degree of impact in some LIC. So I'm giving an evaluation in different places, which is really good because it's good to have that global and regional comparison in terms of the question. Saying in some locations this is the case, but in others this is the case. Personally, I believe that this, and this. Henceforth, as a result of these compounded reasons, it's my belief that at different levels of economic development, all communities would benefit more if they reach water sustainability through small-scale, community-based strategies rather than large-scale ones. And essentially, there's not really a right answer. You could have said, oh, you don't agree, but just make sure that your evidence agrees with that, and it will all be fine. So, just overall, again, you need to be evaluative, and you need to use all your points to build up this argument. You're building and building upon this argument and considering alternate perspectives, and then you're coming to this like full conclusion that does make reference to what you've just concluded in the like body paragraphs. This also got a 9 out of 10. So I'm defining, so this is about contrast the geographic impacts of 2 named diseases. So again, using your notes and your case studies, you should be able to think of 2. So I did cholera and malaria. So I'm doing my definitions. I'm saying I'm going to discuss these 2 diseases and what they are, defining them. They have vastly negative impacts, socially and economically. Therefore, various measures have been put in place to combat them in various locations. So I decided to do each disease in each paragraph. You could do like different impacts, like social, economic, but I thought that because I was discussing 2 examples, it'd be easiest to divide them into paragraphs, just to keep it a bit more like all the information is relevant essentially in each paragraph to one thing, which makes it a bit more easy to write. But nevertheless, you still want to have a comparison because you're contrasting. But I'm just saying the way I laid it out was I did cholera first. So, okay, cholera. So I'm talking about cholera and I'm saying the overall like impact of it, where it had impacts. And then I'm saying like here it's impacting trade, it's impacting water access, the deaths, the costs of it. And then I'm saying like where the stigma, the cultural stigmas. And then I'm saying unlike malaria, so I'm having this comparison already. So it's good to use phrases like these types of phrases that show you're evaluating. So I said, unlike malaria, it's not a disease that has a large effect on specific age groups, but demographic impacts still persist due to high death rates. And then I'm saying more impacts of it, so impacts on cholera patients. And I'm saying health impacts and what the consequences of like having to deal with it, treatment kits, having to provide that, and then I conclude that all by saying the geographic impacts of cholera are huge and require a high level of maintenance and attention from organizations such as UNICEF and the WHO. So it's quite like a broad discussion in one paragraph, but it is just saying geographic impacts, and that does concern social, economic, political, physical, like anything essentially that's relating to geography. So that's why it's quite like a lot of things in one. But just make sure that even if you're having a lot of different facts and evidence, you're still always linking it to the question, and you're making space for comparison. Like obviously I've only discussed one disease, so I can't compare yet, but now moving on to malaria. So say on the other hand, malaria has a great degree of impacts on the population that it affects. So then I'm saying where it's had big impacts, what the impacts are, so economic, social, human development, what they had to do to deal with it, so like the consequences in terms of like management and control. And then I'm saying one of the main solutions has been mosquito nets. Therefore, a similar way in which malaria and cholera are being treated is community-based treatment, which is directly to those affected. Likewise, the education of disease is being provided in both cases. As a whole, malaria has impacted regions economically and socially on a global and national scale, which is comparable to cholera. So once I've discussed both diseases, I'm then able to bring in more of this like comparison. Then I'm going on to my conclusion. So I'm saying in conclusion, both diseases are similar in that they mainly affect low-income countries in the African region. They both have many consequences for countries such as limiting education and employment, both diseases are this, and then I'm saying what do they both have better? Then I'm saying, however, malaria seems to affect younger age groups, cholera does most age groups, and then I'm saying the difference between the solutions. So I said that may indicate a difference between the management of vector and waterborne disease. Despite this, it's difficult to find major differences between the impacts of these 2 diseases, as they're constantly developing and appearing in new places that they never were in the past. So again, I'm bringing everything I've said, and I've been building on this conclusion through the whole thing, and then I'm finally coming to this evaluation, comparing and contrasting, and then I'm bringing it into a bit of a larger scale, and this could be applied to diseases like that aren't just cholera and malaria. So I'm bringing it onto a more broad scale essentially, in the conclusion.